Hey, good morning, everybody. I hope everybody had a good night. You're waking up this Thursday morning to a brisk 12 degrees, um, and it's only going to get up to about 18 is the high, and just steadily dropping over the next couple of days. So, um, dress warm, dress layered. When you leave the house, leave with some extra clothes. Put a blanket in the car, candles. Just make sure you're prepared. If you do get stuck out there, it could be dangerous. It could be dangerous. Um, so we are in a study. A proverb a day keeps the heart at bay, and it is Proverbs 18 on the 18th. So we're in Proverbs 18. We'll just pick up in verse 1. Whoever isolates himself seeks his own desire. He breaks out against all judgment. Yeah, you know, when I when I'm in myself, and when I'm not seeing the Lord, and I don't really want to hear anything from anybody else. I just care about my own desire, and my heart is taken over. I don't seek counsel. I don't I don't go to others and ask questions and just um, get some insight on maybe somebody who's been there before, right? He and so what happens is he breaks out all against all sound judgment. It's because I don't want to hear it. I want to hear what my heart says. I want to do what my is right in my eyes, what my eyes see, or what my eyes are wanting to go after. I tend to not have counsel and do things on my own, and that's when things fail, right? That's when things fail. If you flip over Proverbs 15, 20, 22, King James reads, without counsel, purposes are disappointed, but in a multitude of counselors, they are established. In a multitude of counselors, they're established. ESV reads, without counsel, plans fail. Okay? So whenever we do things on our own, they fail. And the reason why we don't seek counsel is because we want to please our own heart or our own eyes or our own flesh. Okay? Then he says, our plans fail, but with many advisors they succeed. Yes, because you get a well-rounded view, maybe from somebody whose heart isn't involved in it, and they can speak a clear, give you a clear, sound, pragmatic or spiritual answer, right? So a spiritual answer is not always a pragmatic one, y'all. A spiritual answer is not always a pragmatic one. Verse 2, a fool takes no pleasure in understanding, but only in expressing his opinion. How many times somebody is trying to explain something, but there's no fact behind it. There's no understanding. I find this a lot with, um, unbelievers. I see it a lot with parents of some of the students, that when I have like IEP meetings and things like that, there's a lot of opinion, but there's no substantiation behind it. There's no spirit behind it, really. When the flesh takes over it, there is nothing sound with it. Okay. Um, when wickedness comes, contempt comes also, and with dishonor comes disgrace. When we do wicked things, and when we it's because we have contempt for, or not because, in contempt of, right? When we don't hold the scriptures to the level, the most high, like sola scriptura, the final authority is the scriptures, right? When we don't put God in his proper place, and we hold him in contempt, and we're not obeying his law, his commandments, his spirit. We're not following his will, but our will, right? There's contempt for it. We disdain that because we want our way. And with that dishonor, and with dishonor comes disgrace. When we dishonor God, we disgrace ourselves. Come on, man. When I think back to a time when I had to go through church discipline, right? It was I dishonored uh, the pastor, the men's group, my church, my family, and I did have to heap coals on my forehead and walk around in shame. That's part of the healing process, is that dishonor piece, that shame piece. We have to go through it. Otherwise, our hearts won't be humbled, our hearts won't be broken, and we won't be able to um, receive sound understanding. We won't have fear of the Lord. A lot of times we need that for fear of the Lord. This little cluster here is good. 4 through 8. The words of a man's mouth are deep waters. The fountain of wisdom is a bubbling brook. Yeah, because the fountain of wisdom is small. There's only one place. It's a narrow way, right? Broad is the way to destruction, and a narrow way, right? There's a narrow way to the promised land, a narrow way to heaven. Is Jesus. It's through Jesus. It's the only way. And it seems like it's a bubbling brook, because it kind of, it doesn't necessarily come full on. We have to kind of seek it. It doesn't usually just, kind of smack us with the weight of the ocean, right? So the words of a man's mouth are deep waters, because sin is deep in the heart. Sin is deep in the heart, and it's heavy, and it's dark, and there's not a lot of life down there. And the life that is down there is evolved to sustain itself down there, meaning we twist our hearts, we twist our minds so that we can revel in our own self. The redeemed or regenerated self can't live down there. We don't. The regenerated self has no part with sin, right? So it's that deep, dark place where sin and our sinful self is adjusted and thrives off living down there, and we have to separate from it. And the fountain of wisdom is a bubbling brook. So Matthew 12:34, out of the abundance the heart, the mouth speaks, right? Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So the words, right, a man's mouth are deep waters. Yes, because it comes all the way from the bottom, right? And when we are sharing the gospel, we are speaking the gospel, we our heart is putting forth and we have the spirit in our heart, and the word etched there, we can shoot that out a little bit. But until then, we're just sinful. And that's what comes out of the mouth, right? And as we are sanctified, right, and we move downstream, right, that little bubbling brook, it starts as a bubbling brook. We move downstream, it gets wider and bigger and more pure, right? As water hits rocks, it not oxidizes, but it bubbles up. It creates more oxygen. It filters itself, right? It becomes cleaner. It is not good to be partial to the wicked or deprive the righteous of justice. A fool's lips walk into a fight, and his mouth invites a beating, because it comes from our heart. We're just walking around speaking from our heart, and it is wickedness, and it invites a beating. Nobody likes it.